Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. So, a woman on Instagram is catching a lot of slack. A Caucasian female is catching a lot of slack from her followers when they basically accused her of trying to chide in on the $1.2 million that was supposed of reparation that was supposed to be promised to people of African descent or slave descent or whatever. And they're claiming that she's saying that her father is black, and that makes her half black. Therefore, she should get these reparations. This is what her followers are accusing her of trying to chide in on the money that they're supposed to be getting, which they're not going to get anyway because the governor's like, we already talked about that in the previous video. But look, we're going to get into this article, this Instagram article. Let me read to you what these guys have to say here, and I'm going to give you my opinion because really, at the end of the day, what difference does it make, really? Really, I mean, really, at the end of the day, what difference does it make? So the article says a biracial woman who could easily pass for white is being dragged on social media for calling herself half black. It says Monica, known as Summer Basil on Instagram, has naturally blonde hair, green eyes, and super fair skin, all traits she says were handed down from her white mother. However, she says many people don't believe her when she reveals that her biological father is African American. In a recent Instagram post, she shares photos of both parents, and she does. You see her aside what she claims to be is her father, and he's an African American male. But you can see that he's somewhat light skinned. But that's not even the issue here. We're gonna go further than this. Her father is a light skinned black man. According to her, they share specific facial expressions and a lean body type. And then it goes on to say, and you can see many of her postings. But Monica's followers argue that she is simply trying to prove African American roots to get a reparations check should further legislation allow the money to be distributed to descendants of enslaved Americans. This is silly. California's Reparation Task Force, which really is only like 9 people, really, approved a plan to pay $1.2 million to every black resident to compensate for race-based discriminatory practices. But the plan must be considered for legislation by California's lawmakers. Mixed-race people like Monica may be eligible to collect if the plan is approved. Some of Monica's followers don't believe that she is half black. One wrote, quote, "You're literally only 10% black and the white genes colonize your black genes." You're literally only 10% black. Well, first of all, where did they get the idea that she's only 10% black? What are they? I mean, where did they get that idea from? Did they do research on this? You're literally only 10% black and the white genes colonize your black genes. Come on. Another post, people think they understand genetics and they don't. If your dad is black, then you're half black. End of discussion. Yeah, and that's the end of that right there. The end of discussion. I mean, what do they know? What people say some of the craziest things, man. But here's the deal. Here's my opinion on it. Look, at the end of the day, what difference does it make, really? Number one, the governor kind of like, we're not going to do it because we can't afford it. Because as I said in the previous video, I think it was a reverend that spit out this idea that really we should be getting like $200 million. I mean, real stupid stuff. Real stupid stuff. I guess people are supposed to believe him because he's a reverend. Oh yeah, the reverend said we should get 200 million, so we should get 200 million. You're not going to even get the 1.2 million. So forget about it. Just another ploy that Democrats play to keep black people voting for them, to keep them on the plantation. If you dumb enough to fall for that, you dumb enough to fall for it. I'm just going to tell you what it is. They do this every 4 years, and no real significant changes happen in the black community. You know it, I know it, and every black person that got eyes and sees and knows that. So let's not even go over that again, okay? But the point is that, I've seen a picture of this lady. She is, she could pass as purely white. But even if she is of mixed descent or whatever, I mean, look, and she says that, she's half black. I mean, there's no proof that she's doing this to get the $1.2 million if that passes, which is not going to. But even if she could get it, who cares? Who cares? Because if she can prove, if that's true, and if they actually do this, which I believe they're not going to do it, and her descendants or have descendants or whatever were slaves or whatever, then you can't keep her from getting the money. Can you? No, you can't. Because according to the article, it says that she can get that money if, in fact, it can be proven that her ancestors or descendants, ancestors, and so forth, were slaves. But that's not going to happen anyway. That's not going to happen anyway. But what kills me is how people, some black people can be so hypocritical. Well, no, you white and you're this. Man, look, at the end of the day, black people were the ones that sold, black chieftains and princes and leaders in the black Africa sold their slaves to the Europeans. That's how the transatlantic slave trade got started. White people weren't going in mass when it first started. They weren't going in mass and just hauling off slaves out of Africa like you see in the series Roots. That's not how it happened. That's a lie. That's a lie from the pits of hell. That is not how it happened. Okay, they did not have the know-how. They did not have the technology at that time, the know-how, or the guts to go into a established country like a lot of those African countries were, and go in and haul off slaves in mass. They did not have that technology. You don't believe me? Read the works of Thomas Sowell, And if you have somebody that can combat Thomas Sowell in detail and documentation, then please show it in the comment box. But he's well known, okay? And he states that, okay? And he documents that. And plus, most people know that, that's how it started. So this whole idea, all that stuff doesn't even matter because thousands of blacks were during slavery time in the South owned slaves themselves. So once again, if any of this stuff passes, which once again it will not, and anyone decides to do some research and digging back to see who their ancestors were, you know what I mean? What if your ancestor was one of these black slaveholders? What are you going to? You're certainly not going to get any money because they were part of the whole deal. Not only were the African chieftains selling their slaves to the Europeans in exchange for guns and so forth, but you had black people in the antebellum South that were selling their slaves to the Europeans. So what's going on here? See, the whole concept is hypocritical. The whole concept is hypocritical. And if we really buckle down and look at the bigger picture, we'll see that. But see, people want to pick and choose and do what they, no. This woman, if she's entitled to this money, she's entitled to this money. That's how I see it. Me personally, I don't care. I don't care because I know it's not going to happen in California, any of the states. It's not going to happen. They're going to keep talking about this. They're going to keep debating about it. They're going to keep, we'll create legislation for it. And, this is just the right thing to do because they know black people going to vote for them. Well, I'm not, but black people going to vote for them anyway, man. They're going to vote for them. They're going to keep talking about this. When are blacks going to collectively wake up to this rah? When are we going to wake up for this nonsense? It's just silly. But yeah, at the end of the day, if she wants to collect this money, that's her business. Look, you can't prove that she's doing this just so she can collect the 1.2 million. Nobody can prove that. Because the same could be argued for anyone in the state of California who may be white and have all the features of a white person, and yet their father or mother, whatever, was black. I'm pretty sure she's not the only one in the state. That's a mix of biracial. I'm pretty sure she's not. They could claim the same thing and probably are claiming the same thing. What difference does it make? If they're entitled to it, they're entitled to it. What you tripping on? What's the Instagram followers tripping on? What you think they're gonna run out of money? Because you think they're gonna look? What if let me say this and end this. What if this biracial woman and other biracials in the state of California do some research and decide to look back and say, hey, their ancestors was black people or whatever, and they were slaves, and that entitled them to title these biracial people of today to get reparations. But then a total black person look like an African here in the state of California, whatever, do their research, okay, and find out that their ancestors were some of the slaveholders. What you gonna do? You gonna cry and get upset with the biracials who got the reparations if they get it, which they're not? But you get my point. You gonna cry and get upset with them? Just saying. At the end of the day, this is a bunch of nonsense. It needs to be thrown out the door. Let's go on with our life. Let's get our education, man. Let's better our lives. Forget about these dumb politicians because they don't care, especially these Democrats. They want to stay in power. Somebody can argue with the Republicans, the same thing, well, whatever. Okay? To say, what the Republicans need to do is beef up. The Republican politicians, they need to beef up their campaign strategies because they are boring and they don't know how to reach people. They don't know what campaign strategies to use. They need to beef that up. And Trump is at this point the only one that can actually do that. Okay, he's exciting, he's powerful, he's fun to watch, he's fun to listen to, and as well as his policies were helpful to tons of people in the country. But I ain't gonna get into all the details of that. Most of you probably already know about all of that. But at the end of the day, it don't even matter, man. At the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. If she's entitled to that money, she's entitled to that money. And if you're black and your ancestors were slaveholders or whatever, or you didn't have any slave, you weren't the descendant of a slave, then you ain't going to get the money. So just forget about it. Go on with your life. That's how I see it. But what do you got? What do you guys take on this? Leave your comment in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.